Hey everybody, welcome back to X-Plane 11, and we are now on to wonder number 5. This is the airport that we're at right now. I don't know what the name of it is. I haven't committed that to memory. Um, so this looks pretty barren, scenery-wise. This is actually almost identical to what it looks like in real life. So check. This is actually pretty funny. So here is the airport. Here's the runway. And this is what it looks like in real life. It's literally just a paved runway in the middle of the desert. So what we're going to do is this Petra has been the most difficult navigation-wise to find. So I flew into, so the route that I took is I went from Italy to Greece, from Greece, Athens, Greece, to Tel Aviv, and then down here to King Hussein, OJAQ, Aqaba, which is a town that's right here. So I flew into that airport, and I did some flying up and down this mountain ridge where Petra is. But there's no actual physical location that is easy to find, unlike Christ the Redeemer or even Machu Picchu, Colosseum. It's basically you have to fly to a coordinate, which the default version of the Garmin 530 does not give you the ability to input just a GPS coordinate. So I flew up along this ridge here and landed here because I found that this VOR station right here, if I fly out on the 090 radial, almost exactly 30 miles, which is like somewhere in here, that takes me right over the Petra site. So I'm going to take off and I'm going to intercept the 090 radial, and I'm going to fly that out, and as soon as I get 29.9 miles away from the VOR, look down and I will be over the Petra site. So that is the plan, and let's see if I can get it to work. So let's quickly start this thing up. Okay. Let's see if I've got this tuned correctly. Make sure I have any flight plans deleted. Okay. So here's the VOR surrounding airports. That looks okay. Close out of this. Now this I want to be 090. So it's just perfectly due east from that VOR. And let's tune to that. I think we are 115.6. 115.6. Okay, yep, there we go. Shows me the radial, so is this thing gonna be, which one does this slave to? I'm just gonna set them both. I haven't really figured out which one. I think the top one. I think this is the one that I should be using rather than the second one. So they're both tuned to east, and worst case scenario, we'll just use the 090 radial, and we'll just keep flying until we hit 30 miles. We're not going to mess with any run up. We're just going to take off. There's a lot of wind right now, so we should be up in the air pretty quick. But I thought it was pretty funny when I saw the real world picture of this airport that it's not that it's a 2D airport. This is what it looks like. Whoa. Okay. Alright, so now we're up in the air. This magenta line here is kind of messing with me a little bit, so I want to just delete this. I don't want that to confuse me. Okay, so confirm where we're going, so we need to turn back around. Once we're over the Petra site, there is a town that's just to the east of it, so we should be able to kind of confirm that we are in roughly the right location. There's like some access roads that get kind of close. So once we're over that location, should be all right. Okay, so we're 3.8 miles from the VOR, looking at that radial. So the distance from the VOR is fine because I think we're probably going to be a little bit far away anyway, but we're just going to intercept 090 radial and then turn east onto that and hope that our visibility clears up. It's not too bad. Just go full power. Rental power it is. Still in a little bit of climb. We do have some altitude work to do on our way there. It's 6,500 feet, that ridge up there, so we will have to maintain a climb. Okay, 070. And I could kind of do this in an angle, but I just want to be on that radial. I'm going to set the autopilot probably and just fly due east so I don't deviate too far from it. Okay, so 085. Okay, I'm going to turn on to it now. And that top needle, so that is the one that is slave to the 530. The 430 is probably nav 2, and I could tune that also, but I don't need to. Overshot it a little bit. And visibility sucks right now. Okay, so there's 090, and we're kind of going to overshoot it again. Let's get back to it. Nope. on, buddy. Don't want 085. Flying all over the place. Yeah, look at that. I overturned that big time. Whoops. Let's overcorrect. How about that? .088. 089. Level it out. 090. Okay. Just sustain that. Okay, I'm gonna put the autopilot on. Heading. Nope, not heading. Not yet. And there's some mountains right there. That would be nice to see those clearer. Dude, where is this thing going right now? Is this wind? Why do I feel like I'm not pointing in the right direction here? Yeah, let's do a quick check of the weather, which I should have done before. Yeah, 16 knot wind, 3 knot. Well, that's not too bad. But let's just for fun make, where's the visibility at? 10. Let's just go manual and make that higher. That's better. Way cheaty, but kind of like to be able to see what we're doing. Oh, that's why I was fighting the autopilot. That's why it felt like I was going all over the freaking place. Okay, we're just wandering in the desert at this point. So let's get back on 090. Then I'll put the autopilot on. Yeah, so I gotta hop over that ridge. That actually might be kind of sketchy. I really do wish that the 530 in here had that capability to put in coordinates. That would be really nice. According to the owner's manual for the actual 530, in order to do that, you go to flight plan, and you basically just select a letter. I mean, it could just be one letter that is not connected to an actual waypoint or VOR airport. So no pre-programmed thing. And on here, it automatically pulls up some default kind of first thing. But I did find, when I was trying this, that I think it was 0. Was totally blank. So in the real system, you would hit enter, and it would immediately, because it's not pre-saved as a location, it would immediately bring you down into a position here where you'd be able to scroll through the actual longitude, latitude digits and manually input your own waypoint in there. That would have been really nice, especially on this one. But unfortunately we don't have that capability. So we kind of have to do this manual flying radials over VOR, which is still kind of I guess a good thing to learn how to do navigationally, but it's a pain in the ass to try to pinpoint that spot when essentially we're going to be flying over just a valley in the middle of the desert. But like if you were in X-Plane and you were trying to fly to like your house or your work or a friend's house, or trying to pinpoint a location that is not going to have navigational aid to help get you there, it would be nice to be able to fly to an actual known coordinate. Not the case though, so we'll just have to make do with flying this VOR, which is fine. I mean, I think it's kind of cool to watch this distance get bigger and try to maintain that radial. And the ominous sight of this mountain right in front of us. I'm at 500 feet per minute, and let's get back on. I was a little bit off full throttle. Keep an eye on the airspeed. This little Cessna is gonna be struggling with this kind of climb. That is a pretty steep climb. But I think we're gonna make it. Okay, so we're at 16 miles, so we're more than halfway there. This is definitely a much better way than what I was trying to do before. I was basically, I climbed up to this ridge, and there's a freeway, I don't know if you want to call it that, that goes just north and south. And then along that freeway, there are a bunch of towns, I guess, like this, kind of scattered along, and I mean, they all look exactly the same. They're all procedurally generated little towns. So even though we're in the Middle East, it looks like, you know, Ohio or something with these houses. But I would try to find a town that looked like it matched the general outline of the town next to Petra. And that was really kind of annoying and didn't work. So we should be flying over, let's check. I'm looking at it. I've got Google Earth on the other screen here. And there is a pretty wide valley that it's kind of nestled in between. So now we're at 18. And I'm going to leave the power totally pegged. I don't really care. If our airspeed starts shooting up at 100, 110, 120, it'll just get us there faster. So that's fine. Put some lights on. I realized that I did not put any lights on. Okay, so we're at 6,400 feet. That should be safe. God, that's loud. So I'm guessing that it's going to be right here. That is pretty beautiful scenery, though. Okay. Back inside. Yeah, I'm gonna guess that it's right here. If we've got a town right in here, I think that is our spot. Maybe, maybe not, though. Part of me thinks that we might have a little GPS discrepancy because the town back on that ridge looked pretty big. It's hard to tell. Let's just trust in our navigation. Yeah, this is a definite pain in the ass. So it's not too mountainous. I'm using Google Earth on the second screen here just to kind of get a feel for the geography if I can. So it looks from some of the maps like it's really mountainy, and from others it looks like it's just kind of out in the middle of the desert. Yeah, it's pretty flat. Okay. I'm gonna stop second guessing what we're doing. So 24.8, we are coming up on it. We're a little bit off, so I'm gonna get back onto that 090. Yeah, I was definitely way off when I was trying to find this before, which I'm glad I figured out, found this way out. This is much better. We still need some more, a little more south action. Yeah, this is going to be perfect. So 29.9 on radial 090. That is maybe 0. Yeah, I think we're good right here. I just zoomed in, and it is 088. 090 was kind of like the rough eyeball, but looking at Sky Vector, I just plotted it out on Sky Vector, and 088 is the exact coordinates, which we will be coming up on right about now. Yeah, here we go. Sweet, there is the town right there. And we are going to be over it right now. It's right here. So here's the town that's just east of it. And there's that freeway. Frickin' found it. Yep, just passed it. So there is 30 miles on the correct radial. We are just right over it. I'm gonna get this thing off. Whoa. It'd be right there. And I'm assuming that it's much rockier and more, you know, with the actual ruins there built into the rocks, which they aren't depicting. So 29.9 miles on radial 088. So it's just right in here. We're on 090 right now, and so yeah, right in this area right here. There we go. Wonder number 5. All right, so I guess we just start heading back. So let's go to our runway. Let's just go direct there. That feature is pretty nice. So on the 530, if you scroll over to nearest, brings up the nearest airport information. You click on it, click enter, activate, or excuse me, you can click this direct to button here. Gives you, the information that you need. Click activate. Magenta line takes you right there. In our case, we could go over to nav. We can hit autopilot, and then it will freak out. Nope. Oops. Sorry. We need to change it to GPS. I always forget that. So this CDI button here, if you activate the autopilot under navigation, it'll start flying you towards I don't know. I've gone in circles a few times. I don't know why it's going back and forth here. But yeah, so I always have to make sure that CDI is selected when you're navigating towards a GPS spot. Otherwise, you want it on the VLOC to get your VOR if you're flying with the radio frequencies and VORs. But we're gonna get lined up pretty close to the 2-leg of our VOR here. We're going to cut this corner pretty close. Showing us 22 miles out, 11 minutes. Hopefully we can get that in 11 minutes down a little bit. Once we clear this crest here, start descending gradually, but enough to get this thing going. I have an engagement that I have to get to, so I don't want to dawdle too much. And I didn't buy the fuel, so we can just be totally maxed out. No problem. Not a lot of air traffic up here. We help with the visibility. The desert scenery in X-Plane is really gorgeous. Obviously much easier to recreate than forests or cities or anything like that, so which is why it was pretty funny that the airport that we're flying in and out of is so barren, but is actually pretty true to real life. Might be a tad early on that nose down, but I think we should be all right. Yeah, that's really beautiful scenery. This is a pretty cool place to fly geographically. The you got basically three countries really close here. This is Jordan. The airport is actually in Israel, just over the border in Israel. And then if you look out here, I don't know if the draw distance will show it, but the Red Sea is right there, and I think it's, what is it, like the Bay of Aqaba, I think is what it's called, but it's right by the Suez Peninsula, which is Egypt. So it's a pretty cool convergence of, basically Africa and the Middle East and the Mediterranean all coming together. All right, now let's get this thing going. We're at 120 now. Let's get it into the yellow. Punch it, little guy. So that's definitely not a bad flight. Again, much better than my first attempt to pre-spot, just aimlessly flying up and down. I'm sure there is a way to find what your current GPS location is. I haven't been able to find it yet, so until I find out where that is, I've got to resort to just flying distances from VORs, I guess. Luckily, SkyVector enables you to point a location just using the coordinates, so I can get the exact distance and the heading from a VOR or from a known location. There's 120. We can go a little bit. We can go quicker, right? We still are at just under 6,000 feet. Six minutes out. Miles. Should be able to see it by now, maybe. Looks like that haze is kind of coming back a little bit. we are still very high. So should be 1,000 feet per minute. Should be a good rate. We got 4.5 minutes until we get there, and then we can dump a lot of that altitude in whatever kind of pattern I'm able to pull off. We should be coming up pretty close to, I think right here is the border into Israel. Where are you at, little runway? .140 is moving it. Such a cool little plane. This default 172 really is awesome. Seven miles. Little graphical load in there. Still no visual, unless I am looking way too far out. I mean, it's just a tiny little strip of pavement. Six miles out. Coming up on 3,000 feet. This is definitely steep, but we were very high. Under 6 miles. Still no visual. You little buddy. I'm probably looking out too far. It's probably right in here, right? There's a road here. It's hard to judge the distance when there's nothing around. Okay, there's 2,000 feet. Down a little bit. 4 miles out. Okay, so there's some action over there, little town. That actually, is that our street lights? Look at how sad that looks. Little intersection. Okay, so now we got visual. There's the runway right there. And we knew what direction the wind was going, so we are going to be landing on, what runway is that? 19. Thank you, autopilot. Lost it again. Oh, there it is. Now that is like impossible to see. Okay, so we're gonna join the downwind just kind of right at the middle. Let's make it a nice big base leg. Nice big fat base. There's our altitude. I didn't check the altimeter, so I've got it set to standard, but we are, I think, above sea level. I should probably also have checked that. I know the original one that I flew into was under sea level by like 160 feet. Oh, that was a bad move. I cut that way too short. Okay, so this is going to be a short field runway. Simulated carrier landing. Holy crap. Oh, I absolutely blew that. Wave it off. God, why did I screw that one up so bad? It was way too high, turned way too early. I really should know what the altitude is of this. 164 feet, yeah, so that's about the same as the King Hussein one. So negative 164. So being at 800 feet is really at being 1,000 plus. Let's give this another shot. Whoa. This is still totally garbage, but it's like slightly less garbage and is salvageable. Where are you going, bud? Where the hell are you going? That wind changed direction? Yeah, it totally did. No. That was trying to land in a probably 50 knot tailwind. That really, really sucked.